The most remote and mysterious section of the Atlantic seaboard lies east of Mount Desert Island. There is little room for commercial tourism in this land of secrets. A deep, heavy silence hangs over the Blueberry Barrens, the vast tracts of forest, and the isolated villages separated by a maze of inlets and salt marshes. From the heart of this twilight territory comes a truly unique and sinister ghost story. Spirits of the dead inhabit an 18th century inn that is still open to the public, the Chandler River Lodge in Jonesboro, Maine. Most prominent among these ghosts is the spirit of a man named Hate Evil. Hate Evil Hall was born in 1772. Amazingly, he was the 7th generation of men in his family named Hate Evil. He was also the last man to bear the burden of this appalling name. The first Hate Evil Hall came from England in 1632 during the migration of the Puritans, whose fanaticism led to the Salem witch trials. The name Hate Evil was supposed to mean one who despises wrongdoings. Yet the given name has the opposite effect, denoting a person embodying the darkest traits of humanity. Certainly, the last Hate Evil Hall carried his name like an affliction, for darkness always followed him. When Hate Evil Hall was a young man of 25, he purchased a large tract of land overlooking Chandler River in Jonesboro. Hate Evil built the Chandler River Lodge in 1797, and he died there in 1829. On a moss-eaten gravestone in the village burying ground, his terrible name is carved for posterity. Since his death, Hate Evil Hall has refused to leave the house he built. After more than 200 years, the Chandler River Lodge still stands on a knoll of pines and firs surrounded by fields sloping down to the tidal river. Generations of the Hall family lived on the saltwater farm that functioned as the Stagecoach Inn. Although renovations were made over the years, which included raising the roof and making additions, the structure still maintains the simplicity of its plain New England style. After staying in the family for 160 years, the house became the property of the Kerr family, who continued to run the inn. The tradition continued into 2006, when the property was sold to its current owners, who made extensive improvements and reopened the place for year-round lodging and fine dining. The Phantom of Hate Evil favors the library, where he manifests as the same cloud of darkness that surrounded the man during his lifetime. Despite its lovely river views and cozy fireplace, the library contains a disturbing atmosphere of dread and gloom. This presence in the library is concentrated in a tiny adjoining study, where Hate Evil would have kept his accounts. People sometimes report a suffocating feeling of darkness in there. During the summer of 2007, a guest who enjoyed dinner in the library left behind a simple black cardigan sweater on the back of her chair. She telephoned the inn that evening and asked the staff to find her missing sweater, but it was nowhere to be found. She even stopped by the inn the next day and looked unsuccessfully before leaving town. Then, approximately 2 months later, the black cardigan reappeared unexpectedly on the back of the very same chair. Apparently, the spirit of Hate Evil took the sweater, drawn to its black color, like the garb of a Puritan. Although this sweater would be small on a man today, the garment would perfectly fit a male from the 18th century. Hate Evil also haunts the other rooms and corridors of the lodge, most active when the place is quiet and nearly empty. The spirit has startled more than one person in the dead of the night. A couple of years ago, one woman spent an unforgettable evening as the only guest in the inn. She was staying in the Judah Chandler room on the second floor when heavy footsteps ascending the staircase woke her up. After calling out, she received no answer, and when she got up to investigate, she encountered no one. Intense stillness and deep shadows cloaked the building. Returning to bed, the uneasy guest listened for the footsteps, which never recurred. Tossing and turning, she eventually fell into a fitful sleep, only to wake up in dread as she felt a presence in the room circling around the bed. A psychic medium who visited the inn picked up on a ghostly presence hovering in one of the staircases, where the ghostly footsteps have a habit of treading in the middle of the night. Another guest may have actually seen the apparition of Hate Evil in 2010. This person arrived at the inn before the restaurant opened for dinner, so he walked around the building, and that's when he saw the ghost looking out a window. The apparition appeared as an extremely pale, middle-aged man with jet black hair. Other ghosts find a home in the Chandler River Inn. Undoubtedly, in a house of this age, many people died within its walls over the years, but some deaths have contributed to the ghostly history of the old place. Most recent was 2005, when a man living alone in the inn died of a heart attack sometime during the winter. When someone finally discovered the body, it was frozen solid because the furnace had shut off. For weeks, the corpse lay in what was once a small downstairs bedroom. The room now contains a gloomy atmosphere and an icy cold draft. George Marston was the last descendant of the Hall family to own the Chandler River Lodge. He died on August 11, 1961, of a heart attack on the cellar stairs. People working at the inn today commonly experience a nameless fright exactly where he died. While the Fieldstone basement is certainly creepy enough to inspire fear, the feeling of fright only occurs when someone is leaving the cellar and heading up the stairs, just as George Marston was doing at the moment of his death. Another spirit that roams the halls is the ghost of Sabrina Watts, who came to the inn as a young bride of 21 and spent the next 80 years of her life there. She was married to Horace Hall, the son of Hate Evil. Perhaps owing to the long time she spent there, Sabrina Watts refuses to leave. Sometimes this phantom appears to assert her sovereignty over the kitchen as her own particular sphere. The ghost has the kitchen to herself during the wee hours of the night, but she must share these quarters with the chef and staff from the restaurant at other times. One evening, this ghost apparently lost her patience and caused a disturbance, clearing the room. No one was near a serving station in the hall outside the kitchen when a silver teapot shot through the air and hit the floor with a single thud, never rolling on the hard, smooth surface. Another time, an antique enamel pie pan appeared out of nowhere. Clearly well used, the pan was certainly a favorite of a cook from long ago. When workers opened the kitchen one morning, they found the old pan, which may have once belonged to Sabrina Watts. One guest caught a glimpse of this phantom and ran from the inn, vowing never to return. In the kitchen, standing near the sink, he saw the phantom figure of a woman. The past lives on at Chandler River Lodge, an 18th century inn located in the misty wilds of coastal Maine. The house built by Hate Evil Hall still stands today as a testimony to the supernatural presence that shrouds the mysterious Down East region. Fearful indeed are the spirits of the dead that persist throughout the centuries, but most sinister, perhaps, is the return of Hate Evil. Accompanied by the darkness that always surrounded him, this specter still bears a name that conjures up our deepest fears. Hey guys, Reaper here. I just wanted to thank you all for either watching or listening, whether you're on YouTube or Spotify. This story was brought to you from Ghosts of Acadia, written by Marcus Labrizzi and published by Down East Books. I wanted to give both of them a huge thank you and a huge shout out for letting me bring this book to you guys, whether it's in audio form on Spotify or in video form on YouTube. If you want to check out the book for yourself, I will leave a link down below in the description in both Spotify and on YouTube, so you can go check out the book for yourself and support the original author and original publisher. New story coming out tomorrow night. And until then, remember, sleep well, my friends.